welcome to Startup Wednesday, the one show where we get you up to speed with all that's happening in India's startup space and all the news that you need to know when you talk about new startup ideas, new ventures, successes, failures, burnouts, investments, and of course, why we are making headlines around the world. Well, today a very special guest joining us, Mukesh Bansal. He's the founder and CEO of Myntra.com, one of India's most well-known fashion e-commerce sites. Thanks so much, Mr. Bansal, for speaking to us. Up first, not a day goes by when the startup space in India doesn't make headlines. It's now, of course, really buzzing, the world having its eye on India's entrepreneurs. But what for you remain the three top challenges for entrepreneurs like yourself?
I think startups have really come of age. We have seen some very high-profile success stories. Internet has become mainstream, and mobile phones have taken the countries by storm. Now almost every Indian has access to mobile phone, and all of them are upgrading to smartphones. So the market is a lot bigger, it's easily accessible, and there is a large-scale acceptance of the fact that one can build a world-class organization from scratch in India.
Right, and from Bay Area to Bangalore, we are seeing so many Indians working in Silicon Valley, working their way back now to India, as there seem to be in just so much demand there. They're saying Bangalore is going to be the next Silicon Valley kind of hub. Do you believe that that's on the anvil?
I think it's definitely happening. It's a long process. It will take a few decades. Over next 5 to 10 years, I think the landscape will change very dramatically. All the ingredients are there. You need a big market with a lot of opportunities which exist in India because of internet adoption through smartphones. A very big market is becoming accessible. There's a lot of venture capital is available for all stages of investment. Liquidity is available for investors, and a lot of really high caliber people who are graduates of top schools who have worked in the West, they're willing to come back here and start companies. So if I look at the number of startups that are getting created in India today, it's much larger compared to what you would see 5-7 years ago. So I think we are really well on our way where startups will drive next phase of growth and innovation in the country.
They say often that failure is the best teacher. What, according to you, have been your best learnings, perhaps experiences that you can share with others who want to be India's next Mukesh Bansals, for instance?
So I think as an entrepreneur, one should almost embrace failures, because in every failure lies some learning that will come very handy in future. You get really tested, you get pushed to the wall, you really need to introspect and figure out a way to fight it out. I think that's a skill that all entrepreneurs will need. I don't think there's a single entrepreneur in the world who hasn't had more failures than successes. Some of them may be small failures. For example, in case of Myntra, we had to change our business model in 2010, where we practically shut down what we worked for from 2007 to 10 and build a new business in fashion lifestyle retailing. So I think entrepreneurs have to approach each failure as an opportunity to learn something new, try something different, and get really comfortable with that feeling. It's a part and parcel of an entrepreneurial journey.
More Indians are turning entrepreneur than ever before. What do you believe is the one factor why Indians are starting up so much, as they say?
I think India is a country run by entrepreneurs. If you look at all of retail in the country, there are millions of mom and pop stores that's been there. These guys are all entrepreneurs in their own right. Where they run a small business, they take care of financials, their customers, customer service. It's a different scale, but I think we are all used to it and exposed to it in a variety of degree. Most people will know somebody or would have a relative who runs a small business in the country. So I think it is a country of entrepreneurship. The fundamental DNA is already there. With the right education, right context, right market opportunity, I think Indians are able to prove, worldwide that when it comes to, either entrepreneurship or innovation technology, I think, we are as good or better than, most places in the world. So I do think, the overall environment context in India is quite conducive, and when you marry that with the fact that India is still in the early stages of development, which means there's a phenomenal opportunity. Country of 1.3 billion people, a lot of world-class products and services, infrastructure is yet to be built. All of it will be built in a different way compared to how it has happened in the West. So it's perfect fertile ground for a lot of innovation to happen, and I think Indians are very much up to a task to take on the opportunity and build absolutely world-class products and services in the country.
Right, that's good to know. Well, you're from IIT Kanpur, and IITians are really leading the startup space. In fact, according to one latest survey, 1,600 IITians every year are starting up. Why do you believe that's happening? What are they feeding students at the IITs these days?
I think multiple things. At IIT you get exposure to world-class technology and information. You also spend 4 years in the company of people who are quite ambitious, hardworking, think differently, so you get inspired in the environment. There are a lot of success stories, both in Silicon Valley and India. So people get inspired by those folks. So IITs, among many things, it really teaches you to think very big, to really believe in yourself, and equip yourself with the tools and self-confidence, where you can really back yourself up to do something different. I think a lot of people who end up in IIT, to begin with, also the reason they get to IIT is because they are hardworking, ambitious, and the environment further encourages that aspiration. And today, given the environment is also so conducive to start on your own, I think the IITians are probably finding it right place to get started. If you're not ready to start on your own, the best way to learn about startups is to join one, get few years under your belt, and then when you're ready, you can start on your own.
Right, and Myntra and Flipkart really coming together is supposed to be one big thing as far as e-commerce is concerned, especially with regard to fashion. How is that panning out for you?
I think the overall game plan for us to for going ahead with the merger with Flipkart was to create a story where Myntra and Flipkart together are the strongest player in the e-commerce space in the country, where we leverage each other's strengths to scale up faster, and the story has played out that way. Today Flipkart dominates in fashion. We are leaps and bounds ahead of anybody else in fashion, which is a very strategic category. The overall framework was to keep Myntra as an independent company, because it's a different brand, different value proposition, different a set of customers that we are catering to. So we have run Myntra very independently. We have recently hired a CEO also for Myntra. I am more involved in running the commerce platform at Flipkart, but we have wholehearted support of the board and a deep conviction into Myntra's vision, and will continue to operate Myntra independently in the foreseeable future.
From growing up in Haridwar to now heading Myntra in Bangalore, what's the journey been like? Because there are so many people saying that India's big startup stories or big talent is now lying in smaller cities outside the big urban centers. Give us a sense of what your journey's been like, what the last couple of years have been all about.
I think it's been phenomenal. So, I've learned a lot in the process, during my years in Bay Area and getting involved in the startup scene in India from 2007 onwards. I think it's been very enriching, rewarding and challenging journey, and I continue to be as excited as ever. I think what is going to happen in the internet space, e-commerce space in next 5 to 10 years is way beyond what has happened so far. So I'm really looking forward to playing my role in this journey, and in the process hopefully contributing something to the overall progress and growth of India.
Right, that really is quite a remarkable story. More power to you, and of course all those who want to follow in your footsteps. Mukesh Bansal there of Myntra, thanks so much for taking our time to speak to us. We're slipping into a quick break. On that note, back with lots more. Don't go away.